I am honored to live and serve in South Jordan, a beautiful city that stretches from the foot of the Ochre Mountains all the way to I-15. South Jordan is known for its unique neighborhoods, sense of community, beautiful parks, and high quality of life. In fact, our residents have consistently rated their quality of life high, even as we continue to grow and change. The 2020 census named South Jordan one of the 10 fastest growing cities in America, with populations over 50,000. And we stand shoulder to shoulder with each of you as we are all working to plan for and keep up with growth. Our city has worked hard to develop innovative solutions for smart growth to ensure our long-term success, as well as the health and well-being of our residents. We were able to work with Ivory Homes to provide affordable workforce housing for our police, firefighters, city staff, and teachers. We launched a first-of-its-kind water purification facility in Utah that purifies recycled water to drinking water standards, which gives us the potential to add an additional resource to our water portfolio here in the state. We are also working closely with the Larry H. Miller team on the future development plans for Daybreak, a beautiful master plan development in the city of South Jordan. We have worked hard to build solid relationships with our partner agencies, resulting in better communities across the city, the region, and the state. This brings me to this last year as president of the Utah League of Cities and Towns. I have had the pleasure of meeting and working with so many of you over the past year, and I've learned so much from you. We have the best people serving in this state. You are outstanding leaders who love your communities, sacrificing your time and talents to do everything you can to make your community a better place. Most of you do it for almost no money because you really care about where you live and you care about your neighbors. It's always clear to me that every community is different, which is why one-size-fits-all legislation does not work. I truly believe that the best decisions are made at the local level, by the government closest to the people. Those of us in these seats know the people in our communities best. Over the past year, we've been able to accomplish so much on behalf of local governments. Events like Local Officials Day at the legislature not only give lawmakers a chance to hear our unified voice, but it inspires our youth to serve. I love having the youth councils come and meet with their city councils, their mayors, and their legislators. It's one of the only events on such a large scale in the state where young people interested in local government can participate. It is truly a productive and inspiring day. I've also had the honor to represent the priorities and needs of our cities and towns in Washington, D.C. It's been a privilege to gather with other state league presidents to hear about their challenges and successes. I think there's a lot we can learn from each other because every state is having similar issues. Local governments across the country are threatened with the reality that local authority is being chipped away. I was also able to speak with cabinet members about issues affecting local government. Membership in the Utah League of Cities and Towns is invaluable to the communities in this state. There's strength in numbers. We are an influential voice at the state capitol, and we need to continue to be. When we stand together, we are strong. We are able to affect policy and outcomes in a significant way because we stand together. With the help of our incredible league staff, we are able to accomplish things that we as individual communities could not do on our own. I want to thank you and let you know what a privilege it has been to spend time with so many of you as I visited every region in the state. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to attend your meetings, to visit with you, and to listen to you. Thank you for showing me your wonderful communities. I love our great state and the beautiful cities and towns that dot her landscape. Most importantly, I love the people of Utah. Thank you, my friends, for your leadership and endless commitment to your communities. It has been an honor to serve as your president.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Mayor Ramsey.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very kind. Thank you. Most of us have been in the situation where we're asked for a video or asked for some kind of media and go, okay, anyway, my time to get to do that is almost at a close. And well, I've truly loved it. That's what, a little less of that of me might be good. Thank you. I just so appreciate having you here. I just have a couple of thoughts I want to share. So if you'll indulge me for a second. I never use a script, and I won't use a script now. In fact, they give me a script to make sure I say the right thing and keep us on track. I struggle with scripts. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your willingness to serve your communities. Thank you for your goodness and your intentions. It's been one of the greatest privileges of my life to get to know so many of you, and I hope I get to continue to get to know more of you. But working so closely with many of you across the state has strengthened and warmed my reassurance for the future of our great state and the future of our nation. There's a loud narrative that exists in the world and in our country, and you all know what I'm talking about, that America's best days are behind us, and things have become polarized politically. Some things should never be political. Whether or not we have adequate drinking water shouldn't be political. Whether or not we have somewhere to live and can afford to live shouldn't be political. Air quality and clean air shouldn't be political. These are issues that affect every single one of us, and our children and our parents and our neighbors and everyone we know, and our constituents, the residents of this great state, those who have elected each of us and entrusted us to be their voice and to do the best we can to protect their interest and that of their families and everyone they know. One thing I want to touch on that I've learned, everywhere I go, I've had the privilege, every meeting with legislators, every time I'm at the Capitol, most of the conversations I'm in, I have the opportunity to remind decision makers, policymakers, people who have great influence on the policies that are made in this state, that cities are working very hard and doing an excellent job. And that the pervasive narrative that cities don't care about housing affordability or aren't willing to do hard things to help strengthen the future for our young people is simply not true. And I want to come back and maybe flip that. And I don't mean this to sound like the devil's advocate, but I want to be completely honest and bring back to this body, because legislators have heard it from me a million times, and I want you to hear from me that just as we see the polarization happening politically across our nation, I don't want us to slip into that mindset of believing that it's cities versus the legislature, that we are on different teams, that we have different goals, because we're on the same team. We have different ideas. We all in this room have different ideas for how to get to the end goal. But I truly believe that the end goal, that every one of us in this state who are working and serving and running for public office, I truly believe that our end goal is the same, and that's to continue to ensure and create the best Utah we can have. A strong future for the generations that will follow us, and the highest quality of life with the greatest economic development that will sustain our tax base and help us to be strong long into the future. I think the advice we received yesterday was one of the best pieces of advice I think I've ever heard. Utah will not always be the fastest growing state in the nation. And it's critical that we remember that as we're making plans and looking down the road, that we're looking long term, and that we are establishing policies and making sure our economic development is strong, so that when we are no longer growing at a staggering, dizzying pace, and probably none of us will even still be around at that point, but those who follow, when we stop becoming the fastest growing state in the nation, will have a strong, secure foundation that we helped to create. I think you had the opportunity today to hear from some of the leaders in our state and to hear for yourselves what some of the perspectives are that we are discussing all the time. You have my word and my commitment that we as a league will continue to be at every table, to be part of every conversation, to engage in discussion and to take your thoughts and the thoughts and concerns of the residents you represent to the table. I truly believe the best policy decisions are made when we have all of our voices at the table. And we will continue to be there to do that. But I hope that we can remember that as we work and as we work to comply with legislation that may come as direction or directive to cities, that we remember that as local government leaders, we are working parallel to the legislature. We need to continue to work together. And that's not just talk, it needs to happen. And it's not easy. It is not easy work sometimes when we see things so differently. However, there is much more that unites us than divides us. And I believe we're on the same path to the same outcome. So as we work together, we will be creative. But let's continue to be the example that we are here in Utah of civility and of doing things collaboratively, of working together. And let's please don't let the polarization that we see happening in political parties enter our hearts as far as local government versus the legislature. I also would encourage the same thing I did back in April. There is so much value in the expertise that you are gaining by serving in your local community. Local government is imperative. In fact, Robert W. Flack said, "Local government is the foundation of democracy. If it fails, democracy will fail." He didn't only mean states. We are the closest government to the people. You all know that we know our neighbors and our communities best. I would encourage you, when your time serving in local government comes to a close, to consider taking some of the institutional knowledge, some of the bumps and bruises and the scars that you may end up with at the end of this path, and consider taking that to the legislature so that we continue to have a breadth of vision and a breadth of perspectives in the legislature as we are continuing to develop policy going forward. You truly are the finest group of folks I've ever had the chance to work with, serve with, and know. And I mean that sincerely. It has been the honor of a lifetime to serve as president of this organization. And I have a unique opportunity tomorrow I kind of roll out to become a bit of a has-been, but you won't be able to fully get rid of me. I still have a few years to serve as mayor of my city, and I'm so grateful for that. But because of the new Unified Economic Opportunity Commission, which isn't that new anymore, it was established last year, I will continue to represent the league for the next couple of years. That's a 4-year term on the UEOC. So I will still be around and have the opportunity to get direction and learn from and engage in these discussions with all of you and with those who you have elected to represent you in this way. So I actually am really grateful I'll still get to be involved, and I will get to be on the executive committee for another year. We have great leadership in store because we have a great pool to draw from. You are the best. I sincerely believe the best of who we are here in Utah. You exemplify what is so hard to find anymore today. Maybe this is anecdotal, maybe this is just another false narrative that exists, but in my experience, I don't think it is. I think we live in such a self-centric world, it is getting harder to find people who are willing to step up with nothing in return for them. I will step up, I will donate my time, I will work in behalf of my neighbors, and I'll take the arrows and I'll do what I can to make things better because I think I have something to offer and I want to. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being who you are. The last request I have today before we turn it over to the experts and get some really cool information is one that, if it surprises you, then this is your first time here. Some of you may be able to guess what that is. I had a few people say yesterday, you didn't take your selfie with everyone. And I said, no, I didn't. I didn't on purpose. But heaven forbid I don't take my selfie with all of you. So, as I said, tomorrow I kind of roll off. And in a couple of years, there will be enough transition. Nobody will ever remember I served here. And that's absolutely fine, and it's the way it goes. But I never want to forget. Personally, I never want to forget you and the opportunity I've had to serve with you, and I won't ever forget. So I do want to document it. So if you'll humor me and just smile and act like you don't hate it, we're going to take our selfies, but we'll probably have to take a half a room at a time. And then just know how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. If I can ever do anything to be helpful, please let me know. Thank you for showing me your beautiful cities and your hearts and your service. We are, in this room, the best of Team Utah. Thank you to all of you.